You need to replace those guys, and people want to come and play here.
Clearly,
and there is still kind of a possibility, like way out there, that Dexter Fowler could come back, but I doubt it.
Not out of the realm of possibilities.
Yeah, but it's probably not likely. I honestly kind of see him going to the White Sox. That's been a name that's been floating around there.
I definitely see that.
After the White Sox
missed out on
Cespedes and some others, like Dexter Fowler could be a nice fit.
He was great.
Player.
He was great for us last year.
He was really good.
Great leadoff guy with power.
Good clubhouse dude. Again, this team is filled with good dudes.
He was a guy that I would have loved to bring back.
Cheaper deal.
Yeah, nothing super long term. Nothing long term.
Nothing long term either. Yeah, just a 2-year, 3-year deal.
I think he'll end up probably getting a 3-year deal from wherever he goes for whatever
we wish
amount.
him luck. He's great.
Yeah,
he was huge.
Honestly, one of my favorite players last year on the team. Just kind of a really nice surprise.
Yeah, great surprise.
He had hitting 17 or whatever home runs he hit was really
his
fun to
OBP. I think against left-handers, was awesome.
Yeah,
it was really good. And he was just that.
He's great in the playoffs too.
Yeah, he was.
He was really good in the playoffs.
A couple really big hits in that Pittsburgh
huge
game.
In the Pittsburgh game.
Yeah, Pittsburgh game.
Big in the Cardinals series.
Yep.
And then I don't want to talk about it, but yeah, we'll see what happens with him and how they handle this outfield moving forward. I mean,
is there a weakness on this team?
That's a tough one. I guess I would say maybe the 4-5.
Probably the 4-5.
The catcher position,
yes,
is a huge. I wouldn't say huge, but I mean, we saw what happened to Miggy at the end of the year.
The weakest on because if you even look at your outfield, sure, the center field spot isn't that great, but Chris could play out there. Possibly. You got Coughlin, who can back up both the corner outfield spots.
Yeah.
He's been strong, extremely undervalued. Glad they still have him. But yeah, you said it. Catcher. Miggy, we don't know what he's going to bring. I think he tweaked his back last year, and that kind of started a downward spiral for him. You got old man David Ross, who, again, great clubhouse guy. But, not old. He can't hit.
Yeah.
Even though they had
Is he still on every Lester start? Is that going to be a thing this year?
It should be for a while. I would love if he got a new personal catcher, but we'll see. And, of course,
you should just move him to a
Kyle can catch, but not the best at pitch framing, not the best arm.
Easily the worst defensive catcher.
Yeah, defensive catcher
on the roster,
but from what I've heard, Wilson Contreras can ball out. And the guy's going to come up and make noise. So I am excited for him, and he's going to be a great addition to the squad halfway through the season, along with some others too. I am really excited about the Cubs, ready to get spring training
everyone on the north side of Chicago or pretty much everywhere. Anyone I've talked to, not even Cubs fans, are excited.
Yeah.
This is a really fun team. Really fun.
It's fun last year. I just hope that the expectations don't become too great. But Joe likes those expectations.
It might be a little too late for that because all I've heard is anyone who talks to me, the one word they say to me is about the Cubs' World Series, So there is definitely an expectation, but
they are the favorites.
I think if there's a team that could handle these expectations, it's the Joe Madden Cubs.
Yep.
And
embrace
these guys just seem like they're not.
They're locked in, man.
They're locked in. They're just not fazed by the attention.
Yeah.
And I think you could see that last year. I mean, they fell apart in one series, but that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
But to win the games they did last year and win 97 overall during the regular season,
no one saw it coming.
No one saw it.
We sat and watched the opening night against the Cardinals, and we looked at each other and we go, we'd be happy if they're competitive.
Yeah.
And of course they went on to lose that game, but we had no idea that this 97 wins was going to happen.
I had no idea.
What? It was insane. But it was a pleasant surprise.
You could kind of see it developing throughout the season.
After that Giants series.
After that Giants series,
they just went off.
In terms of biggest series win of the season by far. The Giants series that was the one.
I was at the game right before that series. They're playing Colorado. They had lost the first 2 of that series and are about to get swept.
Mm-hmm.
And I was with a couple buddies. It was bottom of the 9th. 1 out, I think, or 2 outs. And Chris Bryant steps up. Man on first. They're down 1 run. Cracks a walk-off.
Is this the Colorado?
Yes, the Colorado game. Cracks a walk-off home run. And then after that, it was just like, it's go time. You thought, I think they got swept by the Phillies.
Yeah.
They got swept by the Phillies.
And then we talked about the best series. Now we can talk about the worst series of the whole season, which was that
was that Phillies series,
capped off by Cole Hamels
no hitter. Shout out to Cubs no hit streak. We're thinking of you.
Yeah, which is I'm not going to say his name.
I'm not going to say his name, but
even though we know who you are.
We know you.
We're following you.
Shout out to you, Cubs no hit streak.
Yeah, and we're sorry.
Hopefully your sons can carry on the tradition in the next 50 years.
They'll be talking about that in 65 years or whatever.
On your deathbed, you're probably going to be like, make sure the streak still lives. But
he's gonna have that on his tombstone, like the number of games on the streak.
Pretty sure you will be listening. But shout out to you.
Shout out to him.
But yeah, man, it's got to get here. It's got to get here right now. I'm just ready for Cubs season.
I see something on the docket that you put in here that really intrigues me about the Cubs. The DH.
The DH in the NL.
Okay. Just thinking of Kyle Schwarber playing out his whole career at DH and not having to use him in the outfield or use him as a catcher. Oh my God. Like, I feel like that will just put the Cubs in such a good position moving forward. So, I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts are. Yeah.
I mean, I think as a Cubs fan, I obviously want it to happen because...
Are you an old NL fan who doesn't want the DH in the NL?
I will say this. If the DH comes to the NL, why have 2 separate leagues?
Yeah.
What separates them? You know?
Why
have 2 separate leagues?
I think there'll be a lot more interleague play.
Yeah.
I mean, there's already more than it used to be.
Yeah.
And,
we'll see.
I'm sure the barriers will be broken down.
See. But I think I would love to see it happen.
I think it's definitely going to happen too
within the next 2 years. Probably.
I think
to have this on record.
2017.
So 2 years from now, when we're talking and it happens, we can
2017. Yeah.
Episode
on the first episode. Yeah.
Blake making bold predictions.
Well, I just see it happening. It's been too long. It's been a long time coming, I guess.
Yeah.
Which
I definitely support.
It makes. For me, at least, it makes 0 sense to have 2 separate rules in 2 different leagues playing the same sport, and then they end up playing each other. But
I'm sure Cardinals fans will hate it.
I hope they hate it. They will hate it because they'll
be able to watch
Kyle Schwarber.
If you're a Cardinals fan, turn this off because I don't want you listening to this.
You're not allowed to listen. You just get out of your house.
We will limit this to not St. Louis. Just no one in St. Louis can listen to this.
Can we do that, like, not post it in Missouri? Is that a possibility?
I don't know.
Or just, like, the St. Louis city limits. Like, you can't download it there.
Yeah. We went to St. Louis once, and it was kind of unpleasant.
Well, it was unpleasant.
Well, some guy told me to... Some guy said some very mean things to me in St. Louis.
We got a lot of mean things.
After Blues Blackhawks playoff series, I believe 2013.
Yeah.
Game 1.
Game 1.
Me, Blake, and a couple buddies, we drove down to St. Louis, and we watched that triple OT game, and...
It was a lot of fun.
It was fun. I sat next to a very nice old Blues season ticket holder. Shout out to that guy. And... yeah, but that was painful to watch at the end because the Blackhawks lost and we had to walk out of that arena with Blues fans just saying really mean things to me. And
they thought they had won the series.
Well, of course they did.
And a week or two later,
nope.
Jonathan Davis. Yeah.
All right. There's a big game coming up. It's called the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl. Super Bears?
Super Bowl, Super Bears.
Speaking of Super Bowl and Super Bears, the documentary I don't know if you...
Is it
I haven't
30
seen
for
it
30?
yet. Yeah.
Did it come out yesterday?
It came out yesterday, I think.
I'm going to have to watch that.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to watch it. But just wanted to bring it up before we...
Yeah, I saw the 30 for 30 preview. Mm-hmm. It looked good.
It looks really good. Produced by Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn?
I think he might just be the narrator, but...
I heard Vince Vaughn is kind of a dick. It's kind of what I've heard.
I hear that about every celebrity.
I hear that about you all the time.
I say that about you all the time.
Okay, good.
I say that.
I'm glad we're on the same page.
But
yeah, definitely going to check that out.
Yeah, all
right.
Next week we'll talk.
Yeah, next week we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it.
Super Bowl, Carolina, Denver. Who you got, Blake? Who you got?
Well, I have the Carolina Panthers.
As do I.
And I think it's going to be a blowout.
I don't think it'll be a blowout, but what do you define as a blowout?
I'll say anything more than 2 scores. Or not 2 scores, I'll say 2 touchdowns, so 14 points.
I have Carolina by 10.
Okay.
Do you hate Cam? I don't get how everybody hates Cam. I think it's so
love
dumb.
Cam.
I love Cam too. Cam, if you're listening, we love you.
And I said this, I tweeted this last week after the game.
At Soldier Field without the I and the E.
No, there's without the
Soldier
I
Field BLG.
BLG.
At like, Soldier Field BLG.
Like that old child's book. But now I lost my train of thought.
You were tweeting about
I was tweeting about Cam Newton. And I know this is just like a insane right now call, but I see him going on a run here of titles. Not just one title. I see him next couple of years being the driving force in the NFL. Not even kidding.
Wow.
And
I like that prediction.
Yeah, I honestly think it's going to happen. That defense, and Cam is pretty much unstoppable.
Not a lot of good receivers.
We've always talked. There's been this talk about mobile quarterbacks for the last 5 to 10 years about how it's going to revolutionize the NFL, and there's really been no one. There's been players who are good but can't really take that next step. Cam is finally that guy who is going to really revolutionize the NFL basically through his legs, which are he's a 250 guy who can run faster than pretty much anyone and is impossible to bring down. So, but yeah, I see that happening, and I think it starts with a big win against the Broncos.
Yeah,
in the Super Bowl.
Part of me though wants to see Peyton kind of ride out into the sunset.
I'd like to see it too.
But I think Carolina's got this one. I think we're both on the same page. We'll probably be watching the game together.
Yeah,
so we'll probably be tweeting about it.
They're too deep. They're really good at every position.
Yeah.
Broncos have a lot of issues on offense, starting with Peyton Manning. I mean, he played pretty good against the Patriots.
He still throws up a duck every once in a while.
His
arm isn't what it used to be.
That defense can keep them in any game, for sure. They're historically one of the best ever, honestly. Just based on numbers and what they've been able to do. Yeah, Broncos D.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they'll definitely, as long as they keep it close, I mean, Peyton can win you a game, but, we'll see. I think the Panthers are just too loaded overall, offensively, defensively, special teams even, they can kill you there. So, we'll see, though.
We'll see. Well, let's do a little bit of a wager here. We talked about this before we started recording.
Yes, we did.
On the coin flip, what are the stakes of this wager, do you think, Blake?
The stakes of this wager?
What should be the outcome of this wager?
I think you're usually good at that.
I'm usually good at the figuring out wagers.
Yeah. I know what I'm picking.
What are you picking?
I'm going to pick heads.
Oh, well, that's I wanted tails. Tails never fails.
Well, tails is stupid.
Well, that's just a very bold and rash statement.
I don't think this streak is still going, but there was a time, 8 years in a row, I think, where the coin flip in the Super Bowl went heads every year. And
you know what? Streaks are meant to be
And I think
broken.
the NFC won every time, too. It was something really weird.
That is strange.
Yeah.
We'll have to look that up.
It's going to happen again.
How How about